We're born with open eyes, full of wonder in the light. Tiny hands that reach for love, believing everything is right.
Hey everyone, Captain Wren here. So I guess it's a little story time. It's a story about me and something that I created. Something called Dark Heat. And it is, I guess you could say, an AI band. It is a form of expression for me and where it came from. And I will never, ever call myself a musician, ever. But as you can see on this journey, I might call myself a lyricist or a composer. Because I was using AI to create music, but that was actually only 10% of what went into me creating my music. And first off, I am not an advocate for AI in any way, shape, or form. I see where AI is taking us, where we're pushing AI. And honestly, it scares me. And it's something that I personally think that we need to start petitioning, that we need to start lobbying, that we need to start pushing back on this. Because I don't see it ending well. Especially how it's infiltrating even parts of turning over things that shouldn't be turned over to, like even how it's going into our government, how it's going to all these other things, and all these massive data centers, and the ramifications of that, and how it's taking over our daily lives to the point that it's even in our vehicles, and that we are not even stewards of our own vehicles, of our own homes, of our own government anymore. And I, for one, do not see that as being a positive. I see that as something that we need to set boundaries, to push back on, to simply not have. I am not an advocate for AI, nor will I ever be, the way that it's going. Though I am a Trekkie, I am a hardcore Trekkie. Believe it or not, it was actually captains like Benjamin Sisko and Captain Jean-Luc Picard that were great influences to me to actually become a maritime captain myself. Becoming a fully bonded, licensed maritime captain was greatly inspired by Star Trek. Like I say, it's something I grew up with. It's something that I deeply love. I love the lore. I love the message. I love everything about Star Trek. And if you ever watch Star Trek, especially like Next Generation, DS9, any of those, you'll see their computers. And they do have AI, but they're used as what it should be, as nothing more than a tool. Nothing more than a tool. Like, you'll notice the computers really don't have keyboards or mice or anything like that. They will simply talk into them, and they'll get feedback from that. In fact, there's this one amazing scene from, I think it was A Return Home, where Scotty was talking, where they had went back in time, and Scotty was talking to this mouse, trying to get it to do something, because he was used to being able to communicate with these robots or these computers just like a person, and have them actually give feedback. But they're not intelligent, you could say. They're not general AI. They're simply a tool. And that's what I think, if we are going to have this, that should be the focus, is not to be advanced general AI, but to be used as a tool, just like in Star Trek. Like if you'd see the holodeck, where they would go there and they would describe in great detail everything that they wanted, everything that they needed for a certain project, and it would start creating that based on the input that they gave it. And that's always how I had seen it, as that would be the proper case scenario. And for me personally, I've always loved music. It's always been a happy place for me. It's been a refuge. Like, I would listen to Enya, to Linkin Park, to Steppenwolf, to I have a very broad taste for music. Everything from 14th century Gregorian chant all the way up to hardcore acid techno rock. I love the whole gambit. And I guess where Dark Heat came from is it came honestly from a very bad time in my life. Because I do live a lot in VR. It's one of the places I go to get away. And it's where I go to, because I do live very remotely, so it's where I go to socialize, to have fun, to watch movies, to play games, to basically do all the things that I wouldn't normally do, because I do live quite far away from lots of different things. And I love VR. I love everything about VR. It's amazing. Like, here I'm in an amazing place called Resonite, and it was created by Fruxius and Nexilian, and what they created here is amazing. And so I spent a lot of my time here. But I had met a girl, and she said she had interest in me, and I had interest in her. And something horrible happened. I fell deeply in love with her. And she said at the time that she loved me. She had feelings for me. And it was kind of a whirlwind romance, I'll give that. As such things are in VR. But it was beautiful, it was special, it was honestly one of the happiest times of my life. When I wasn't in VR, we would text each other, we had this full relationship in VR and outside. And, making plans for the future, doing things, wanting to start a life. And then one day, for I don't know whatever reason, she just woke up, said that she was done. No reason, no nothing. Just turn your feelings, whatever you're feeling, just turn it off like a switch, go away, and just be out of my life forever. And I didn't know what was going on. I didn't. And I would text us like, hey, we're a couple. What's going on? What can I do to help? Let's work through this. Whatever you need, I will be there for you. Just let me know what you want, what you need. Just let me help. And the answer was to just go away, disappear. Just turn everything off that didn't exist, never would exist, and just leave. And that's what I did. There was no choice. And it spiraled me. It dumpstered me bad. I fell into deep, dark depression. It was bad. It was to the point that I was thinking some very dark thoughts. Very dark. And I am a poet. I used to write a lot of poetry. In fact, to the point I actually had one of my poems actually published in a small poetic magazine. So I used to do a lot of writing. I used to want to play at creating lyrics for music, and it was something that I had a joy for. And during that whole time, I had one of my friends turn me on to this website. It was called Suno. And at first was like, you know what, no, I don't like any of that kind of stuff, and just no. But I found myself on the website one day, and I was playing with it, and I had taken a song, the lyrics for a song that I had written, and I put it in there, and I had described how I wanted it to sound, that I wanted a female singer, that I wanted all sort of stuff, and within a few minutes, I had the song. Here was the song that I had written being performed, and I could listen to it for the first time. And so I started, using it to get all the stuff that I had in my head out and listen to it for the first time, and it was great. Like, I didn't share anything like that. It was something personal for me, and I was using it as a tool to fill up my shortcomings. Like, I'm not a singer. I don't have a great voice. I just don't. When I was younger, I did study organ. I learned sheet music. When I was younger, I used to play around with Fruity Loops, so I would make loops and create songs and stuff like that through Fruity Loops, and it was a lot of fun. So I had a basic understanding of music. I had a basic understanding of music theory. Because I did play organ, I could read sheet music. Like I say, using Fruity Loops, I got into, the production side of it, how I wanted music to sound. And I kind of married all that together because, like I said, I was deeply depressed, and I needed some way of getting what remained here out. I needed to get the darkness out. I needed to get the poison out of my mind. And one of the ways I did that was, through my poetry, through writing lyrics, through music. And I had just, I had been introduced to this tool. And so it was a way for me to get everything out, to express myself. Because I had all these lyrics lying around. And at the time, I was using what I was feeling as inspiration to write more. And so I was writing a full set of lyrics about every week. And so one of my first songs that I had written was actually a very dark song. Unfortunately, it was about taking the last step. But I'd listened to some of my friends listen to it, and they said, "Hey, this is pretty good." Because it wasn't me just putting an idea into a prompt and then having everything generated. I wrote all the lyrics. I guess you could say basically beatboxed or hummed the melody that I wanted. I assigned the instruments that I wanted. I found out that I could put my voice in there and then tweak it to something that I liked. So through all the dark heat music, it's the one voice. It's based on my voice, but it's basically me tweaking my voice into something that I liked. And I found myself building a whole genre around this. I found myself building all these different things. I didn't have AI doing this. This was literally me sitting down and storyboarding everything from the genre, because I loved the idea of dark gothic rock, but I wanted it more me. So I mixed it with a little bit of sea shanty, and I was greatly inspired also by Gordon Lightfoot. I love ballads. So I wanted almost like a dark gothic rock version of that, but mixed with a little bit of sea shanty, because I use flute, I use Irish tin whistle, I use guitar, violin, and some deep bass drums. And that was all assigned to the music that I would hum or beatbox in, assign songs to it, and then have my modified voice actually sing the lyrics. It was simply me using a tool to get everything up here out. And it was great. The idea for the band name, Dark Heat, is at the time I felt like I was in hell. And I was in the deepest, darkest part of hell, and I was kind of imagining what that would be like, just pitch black, except maybe from a glow from like the cracked magma under my feet, and it was dark and it was hot, and I wanted to express that. So I got the idea, well, I'll call my music Dark Heat, because it was that dark, unforgiving darkness and heat of hell. And so that's where the name came from, was just that imagining of, being in that lowest level of hell, because how could anything hurt more than this? And so I started writing songs. Like, through my day, it was kind of became a hobby. I would think of something, and I would get my phone and I would start writing a few lyrics at a time, and then I would start finishing them off. And I had all these different lyrics. I was using that as inspiration, and all of a sudden I had all these different songs out, and I would create the bass beat for them. I would assign the instruments, I would assign the voice, I would use everything to create the music. And I used Suno literally as nothing but a tool, because I had created the voice, I had created all the lyrics, I had created the basic rhythm of the song, I had assigned the instruments, everything. And then after that, I would go into post-production, I would re-edit it, I would remaster it, I would set, like I'd bring a bass tone out, I'd do all this other stuff, make it sound better. And so the songs were basically just the AI was basically about maybe 10% of the actual production. And that's why I say I will never call myself a musician. I'm not. I'm someone who can write lyrics. I'm someone who has basic idea of music theory and can use that to write or at least hum out the music that I want. And so I can create everything. I just use this as a tool to put everything out. And a lot of people started liking my music. And one of my friends said, hey, you should start publishing this music. Get it out there. Put it on something. And so I had a cover. I had all these different songs, and I started publishing them. And it's really kind of a cool idea, that here I am, that I, instead of going and getting a huge studio, hiring all these people, or hiring a musician to sing and all this other stuff, that I could take something from a dark part of my life, write it out, express it, and then be able to get it out into the world and let other people listen to it. And for me to listen to it, it helped so much to get me out of that depression, to get me out of that time, to express myself purely through music. And like I say, I will never be a musician. I am in complete awe of people who can, play an instrument and sing. It's something that I will never be able to do. I'm in complete awe of those people, and I will never be anything like them. I will never attempt to be anything like them. Like I say, I am at best a lyricist. But I was given a tool to help get all the stuff that I had. Like, I could hear the music in my head. I knew what the music sounded like, and it was the ability to use a tool to get what I heard in my head out into the world, and maybe in a small, insignificant part, contribute. And it's kind of funny that I have what I heard in my head, now other people can hear on all the top streaming platforms. I mean, heck, I'm working on a couple of songs now, and once I finish probably 2-3 more songs, because this whole thing took me on a journey, not only writing the music, not only remastering the music, finishing the music, but getting the music out there, publishing it. You know, even though I haven't done a lot of promoting it, which I do need to do more promotion for it, allowing other people to hear it, being opened up to new things that I would never have been able to even conceive of before. Like, I might actually put out a CD or an LP, mainly just for my own self. It depends on how many people, will accept what I do. But it's opened up a whole new world for me, that I've taken this horrible time in my life and brought it into something that people enjoy. Especially when they understand that it's just not me putting something into a prompt. It's me actually doing work, writing the melody, the lyrics, the voice, the assignment, everything, remastering. Like, it's what I use AI for is really only about 10%. But it's me being able to sit at a computer and create something, and in a small way, maybe contribute. And maybe someone out there, and it's mind-blowing to me that something that I had up here, that someone clear across the world can listen to something that I had written and maybe heal from it as much as I have. And that's cool. That's cool that even though I'm not a very smart wolf, I'm very limited in what I can do, but I was able to contribute something like that. Something that I had up here, and bring it out and let other people enjoy that. That means so much to me. And so I guess that's the story of where it came from, how I create my music, and we'll see where it goes from here. Like, I know there's going to be a lot of hate comments simply because of the fact that I used AI to create something. I know that, and I completely understand that. In a lot of ways, I go with it, because, like I say, what we're using AI for now and where it's taking us, I am completely against, and I think it's something that we need to stop. But for me, using it as nothing more than what it is, as a tool, not a hyper intelligence, but just a tool, I could see possibly a place for it being there, being used like they did in Star Trek, but not being used like in Terminator. But anyway, that's my story. I hope you seek out the music. I hope you enjoy it. Like I say, that's the story of where it came from. It helped me. It helped bring me out of a very dark place. It helped me come back into the light by getting all those dark thoughts out. Like I say, the music is very dark. It is a very dark gothic rock, but it was a great journey, and in a lot of ways I'm thankful for it. And like I say, maybe if we use it properly, if we use it intelligently, there might be a place, if we use it like we did in Star Trek, as nothing more than a tool.